Hi guys, what's up? I have finished my 154 question series and now I am looking for something new to do. That was exciting, things that we can talk about. I had a great time getting to know you guys both on the comment section, in the community section, and then if you followed me on other social media, a lot of you guys would carry on conversations with me elsewhere about the things that we talked about on YouTube. So that was exciting for me. I loved getting to know you guys a little bit better. I have a great little core group of you guys that answer all my questions, and I love it. I would love to grow this community because I think one of the things that I am passionate about is kind of rediscovering who we are, having our best lives, and just living a peaceful, joyful life. I think you go through a period of time where you're trying to impress people or you're trying to get ahead, you're striving, there's a lot going on, and or you're having kids, and there's a lot in your 20s and 30s. And as you get older, like I found, like as I got into my 40s, I started rediscovering things that I cared about, that I really loved. And I started looking at how much time that I probably had left on earth and what I wanted to do with it. And I love that you can kind of spark joy and find joy in everyday little things and rediscover things that you loved when you were younger. And for me, a lot of times that comes in the form of a song, a movie, a scent, a food, whatever. And it will kind of like bring all of these memories back. If you were to chew a stick of juicy fruit gum or bazooka gum, I'm sure that like the floodgates would open with all the memories. If you were to drink a grape soda or a milkshake, or if you were to hear a song that you listened to when you were in high school. Music and movies open up all of these doors, and a lot of us, when we had kids, would try to show our kids things that we saw when we were their age, or songs that we listened to, or would try to give them food that we loved as kids. I remember the first time we fed my niece SpaghettiOs. I thought she was gonna love it. The face she made, she was so horrified by it. She said it tasted like puke. She was not happy at all. And for us, like, we grew up on SpaghettiOs, and we would even, and this may be too much, I don't know, but let me know if you guys remember doing this. We would take white bread, slather it with butter, or margarine, I guess, maybe, I don't know, it was the 70s, and we would put SpaghettiOs in it and fold it, and that would like run out over our bowl of SpaghettiOs. The butter and everything would mix in, and we would just eat this like weird SpaghettiO sandwich. I don't know, but I loved it when I was little. And you know, everybody had their little thing. Like some people would put potato chips in a sandwich or Doritos in a sandwich, and yeah, you just had your fun little weird things you did as a kid, or like grilled cheese that you dipped in soup or whatever it was. But those things kind of spark joy, and you kind of remember them. You remember what it was like. There are things from my childhood that I associate. I remember Papa Gino's pizza, just the big slice. Things like that that were just delightful. They just, I mean, if I were to have a slice of Papa Gino's pizza right now, I would feel like I was 14 years old, sitting at the mall, drinking a Pepsi, hanging out with my friends. My hair would probably be crimped and huge and whatever. And a big, big part of my life was music. So when I was growing up, I of course had, you know, all of these records. I wanted to be a backup singer. I would practice in costume, in the mirror. I can't sing, but I would practice in costume, in the mirror. I watched Dance Fever, Star Search, American Bandstand, Solid Gold. I wanted to be a solid gold dancer. I mean, and then like as you get older, you know, you're going to concerts and you've got concert posters everywhere. And then I was reading autobiographies and biographies of all of the musicians that I loved, and just immersing myself in music, reading Spin, Rolling Stone, Cream, all of those magazines, and then just loving it. And I can't even imagine like what it would have been like to grow up with like all of those 80s people that you loved having social media, like at the height of their career. If you could have had like White Snake posting like behind the scenes stuff, because like David Coverdale's very active on X, but like what that would have been like, it would have been fun. So anyway, music. So I don't play music. I can't really sing. I don't play an instrument, but I love music. And growing up, I have had 3 different jobs. I don't know if you guys know this, but 3 different jobs working at record stores. So the first one was at Record Town. I was a key holder at Record Town when I was 17, 18 years old. I don't know why they gave me keys at that age. Maybe I was 18. Maybe I started at 17 and became a key holder at 18. But I had a key to the door. I don't know why. I had the alarm codes. And then I became like assistant manager at a Coconuts, which was another record store. It was like a bigger record store. We had a lot more movies. We had all these monitors up and we'd play movies all day. I think they were muted, and then we had the music going. We had this huge, beautiful store, and I worked there for quite a while. And then I kind of got out of the whole music thing for a while. I was a manager at a Subway, and then I got a job at a record store, an indie record store, like a little fun seaside town, brick building, old like cobblestone streets record store. And parking was a nightmare. And it was so much fun. It was the 90s. It was a crazy time. When I got hired there, Kurt Cobain had just died. So we're going back quite a ways. I ended up being there for 7 years until I had kids. I got married when I was working there. I managed that location and then a second location at one point. And it was a great experience. We got comped tickets for local venues. We got free CDs from the radio stations. There was just so much going on. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. I met concert promoters. I met musicians. I loved it. So that was probably my best job ever, was like that until now, was working at that independent record store. I loved it. I'm still in touch with some of the people that I worked with there, and it was just a really fun experience. But that was a very long time ago. So I left there 25 years ago to have my first daughter, so the store's not there anymore. But we had posters. I used to get to go on buying trips for the posters, and for the products we had incense and candles, and we had little wizard candles, and it was such a fun store. Anyway, so music. I love music, and this video is already going on and on and on, and God bless you if you are still listening, and I promise that the future ones will just be about a specific album. But I wanted to do a little series where I just talk about music that I love, and I wanted to talk about albums because I collect vinyl. I had this huge vinyl collection. As I got older, I got married, we downsized, and I was like, I've got all these records, I don't need them. Everything's on CD now, right? And I still have all my CDs packed away at the house. But everything's on CD now. We had a yard sale. I got rid of records, my records. I don't know why. I wish I had them back. I kept maybe 10 of them, and then I got rid of everything else. Devastating. I don't know why I did it. I regret it. I regret it every day. Although a lot of them skipped because I wasn't always really careful with my vinyl. So then they started reissuing all this vinyl. They started doing special vinyl pressings. Urban Outfitters, Target, they would do these limited edition. You could only get it at those locations. So I started buying it again. I got one of those crappy little CD suitcase players from Crosley. It sucked. It skipped. It vibrated. The speaker was in the suitcase, so it would like vibrate the record. So if you got something with too much bass, it would skip. Eventually, I got an Audio Techia. I don't even know. I probably should have prepped for this, but I got a nice turntable, Bluetooth Bose speaker, and it sounds amazing. And so I can now listen to records again, started collecting them again. I get them at thrift stores, I get them at secondhand record stores, and I get them we have real record stores in Maine. We have a record store chain, an indie record store chain. And I get real brand new records there, as well as Target, Walmart, wherever they sell records. Newbury Comics, if you're in the Boston area. Anyway, that's a lot. And so anyway, I wanted to talk about records. This is one of my favorite. Oh, my ring light's gonna pop up on there. Anyway, you can see what it is, because I have the plastic on it. That's a fail. I'll hold it at an angle. The Pretty in Pink soundtrack. I love this album. I love this movie. I love everything about it. I don't like watching all the lore behind it, because then I realize that like Andrew McCarthy and John Cryer didn't like each other. Molly Ringwald felt victimized by a lot of the John Hughes lines, movies, plots. But when I was growing up, this movie was everything. I loved it. I was like Molly Ringwald's character in that I was not wealthy or popular. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like I kind of was under the radar a lot. I was not as bold as her with my fashion choices and stuff, but I was not a popular girl. And John Cryer's character, Ducky, I had probably 4 or 5 guys like that I was friends with. One in particular that really reminded me a lot of Ducky, that was always at my house. Fun fact, after I got married, this guy actually would occasionally stop in at my parents' house because he practically grew up there, and we were just friends. We were just really good friends. And a lot of those guys that I hung out with, I would, they'd come over when I was getting ready for a date, and I'd be like, should I wear this or should I wear that? They'd give me advice. They were, some of them had crushes on me, and I, like, looking back, I think that must have been really challenging for them, but they just wanted to like hang out. And we went to concerts together, we went to movies together, we went out to eat together, we were always together, just me and this group of people. And I would bring like other like female friends along, but I had a lot of male friends. I had like this little squad of male friends that I hung out with, and I was never like popular. And a lot of guys didn't ask me out. I did not go to my prom. I did not get asked to prom. I got asked to someone else's prom at one point, from a different high school. I was dating a guy briefly from another high school, and he wanted me to go to his prom. And I didn't want to go. I was awkward. I don't know. But I had confidence in some areas, and then in other areas, I was just like, I wouldn't know what to wear. I wouldn't know anyone there. I can't dance. So it was just painful. But Pretty in Pink, love the movie, love the soundtrack. I was 14, actually I was 13, about to turn 14 when this movie came out and when this soundtrack came out. And OMD, Suzanne Vega, INXS, Psychedelic Furs, New Order, Echo and the Bunnymen, and the Smiths were all new artists to me. I had no idea. It was a rabbit trail that I was about to go down, and I loved it. And so those were like the popular songs or whatever. Those were the songs that were picked. From what I've read, Molly Ringwald was into a lot of these bands, and John Hughes would kind of go to her with like what should we put on the soundtrack? And she would suggest it. So a lot of the John Hughes movies that had Molly Ringwald in them had great soundtracks because she just had great taste in music. And so a lot of these bands that I hadn't heard of at the time became some of my favorite bands as I got deeper into their catalogs. And if you follow me on any of the other social medias that will, like, I'll do reels, like Instagram, TikTok, and put music to it, a lot of times you're going to see like OMD or The Cure, a lot of this era of music, because I just love it. And so I purchased this album recently as a reissue. This one was actually like the anniversary edition, I think, of when this movie came out. And so I just got this one. I had the original album when I was younger, and then for a while it just wasn't available on vinyl that I could find. Maybe it was on Amazon, I don't know. But I ended up finding it in store. I ended up getting it the other day. I brought it home, and I put it on side 2, and Shell Shock started. And like, Shell Shock was like one of those scenes in the movie where there was like that montage of her like making the dress, which, don't even get me started on the dress. It was just a bad design. She took these two dresses, and she's supposed to be this great fashion whatever, and I don't know what she came up with. She looked better in the dress, the original dress, before she cut it up. But that's a point of contention. The other one is who she ended up with at the end of the movie, and I don't want to spoil it. But I recently bought the movie on Blu-ray and watched it again and watched all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I love it. And I may watch it again today. I don't know. It's raining. I've been listening to this album all day. But this was one of my favorite soundtracks and one of my favorite movies growing up. And so this is timeless to me. I could listen to this all the time. There is nothing on this album that I would want to skip. It is a perfect album, in my opinion, a perfect soundtrack, and I love it. So, I'm going to be doing a series where I will just randomly show you guys an album that I own on vinyl that I love, and what I love about it, and what my memories are around it. If you guys are into this particular album or the movie, or you want to talk about it or any of John Hughes' films, drop a comment below. I would love to chat more about this, and I will talk to you guys later. I love you guys. Hopefully that wasn't too long. I'll talk to you soon.